Well, as if folks in Mississippi didn't have enough to deal with this past week with a water emergency that has the lifeblood that human beings need in very, very short supply. Now this, a guy flying haplessly over the skies right now over Mississippi, I should say right now, and actually over Tupelo, Mississippi, more to the point. He's been doing this for the better part of 4 hours. He stole a plane, a Beechcraft Air 90 turboprop. It was owned by a local doctor, took it from the Tupelo airport, and almost ever since has been flying erratically around and around and around. Flight Tracker has been keeping on top of what he's up to here. Don't know exactly whether he's going to make good on his threat. Hope he doesn't, but he has been running out of fuel in the process. Charles Watson following all of this in Jackson, Mississippi. Charles, what can you tell us?
Well, Neil, obviously this is a developing situation. We were here in Jackson, Mississippi, covering the water crisis this morning when we started seeing reports of a man flying low in a plane circling a Walmart this morning. We're told by Tupelo police that they started receiving reports around 5 o'clock this morning of this low-flying plane. Obviously, people saw this plane and were very concerned about what they saw, so they decided to put a call into police. We're told by police that that pilot later got into contact with police and threatened to intentionally crash that plane into a Walmart. About 2 hours later, we're then told the pilot moved out of the Tupelo, Mississippi airspace and headed towards Blue Springs, Mississippi, where he began circling a Toyota manufacturing plant. Now, police are said to be in contact with this individual, presumably trying to talk him down, trying to talk him out of doing anything that would harm him or any innocent bystanders. Meantime, the Walmart in the Tupelo area and other businesses have evacuated out of an abundance of caution. Obviously, they don't know what this individual is planning to do. If anything, we have heard that he has been putting in demands to police. What they are, we're not sure of at this time. But again, businesses in that area, the Walmart, have evacuated those stores out of an abundance of precaution. Now, we are seeing reports that the man flying the plane is an employee of the Tupelo Regional Airport and possibly stole the small aircraft that he is flying in. We've heard from Mississippi Governor Tate Reeves on Twitter, who says he is aware of the situation. He sent out a tweet this morning saying state law enforcement and emergency managers are closely tracking this dangerous situation. All citizens should be on alert and aware of updates from the Tupelo Police Department. Again, the Tupelo Police Department presumably in contact with this man, presumably trying to get him to land this plane before it runs out of fuel or before he possibly decides to intentionally fly it into a business or, an area where innocent bystanders are this morning. Again, people in the Tupelo area are asked to be aware and on alert and listen to police and stay out of this area as they work on this developing situation, Neil.
Do we know, Charles, this man's particular beef with Walmart or that particular store?
No, not to my knowledge. I don't know what his beef is with Walmart or this Toyota manufacturing plant that he's said to be flying over. This sort of just came out of nowhere this morning. Early this morning, people were just waking up and they see this, people in Tupelo, Mississippi, they see this plane flying low. They say this is something that they never saw before in this area. They thought it was suspicious, so they decided to put calls into police, and that's how we end up at this situation where this man is demanding things. What he's demanding is unclear at this time. But again, a developing story, a developing situation that we hope to get more information. We hope to get more information from police and state and local officials in the coming hours, Neil.
All right. Thank you very, very much for that, Charles Watson. Now, a number of you from the Tupelo area have been emailing me on your thoughts on all of this. One resident, Lisa, telling me, Neil, we're just outside looking up. That's all we're doing, and praying. Many others echoing that same sentiment, that they have left their homes, businesses out of abundance of caution and thinking, could it be us? So we'll take you to the Tupelo area when and if we can, but a read from at least a few. That's not an official read, certainly, on what's going on in that area. But a lot of people, rightly, a little anxious, as they should be, and just coming outside their homes on what is otherwise a pretty clear day, no overcast, and just looking up to see if they can sight this plane. Let's get a read from Kyle Bailey on all of this, an aviation analyst. Kyle, this particular plane, this Beechcraft King Air 90, a turboprop, that was presumably stolen by this guy at the local airport, where I'm told he worked as well. What do you know about it? Could he be running out of fuel? This has been going on close to 5 hours. Your thoughts?
Yeah, it's been a couple hours, and he, for certain, is very low on fuel. This is a very complex airplane. This isn't a small Cessna. This is a turboprop aircraft, several $1 million, twin engines, and it's actually a very complicated airplane to operate. The good news here is that since he is so low on fuel, if there was a problem and he did in fact crash that into a building or a structure, there probably would be a minimal explosion, being that the fuel on the airplane is basically almost exhausted.
Yeah, you just hope that he didn't store anything else in that plane. We just don't know. But this plane, and now we're told he's flying quite erratically. It depends on who you talk to. Others have been emailing me. Doesn't look erratic to me, Neil. He seems to be pretty smooth in what he's doing. I don't know. But is it a hard plane to operate?
You have to know what you're doing. It's a very expensive airplane. It's a very complex airplane. It's similar to, you remember the regional aircraft back in the day you would fly in a turboprop on a smaller flight? It's basically the size of like a small turboprop airliner. It actually has jet engines on there that are, and there is a propeller on there, so it's a very complex airplane. He no doubt is a pilot, because to know how to start those engines and to operate that airplane and to fly it the way he's flying it, he has to know what he's doing. So my assumption is he actually probably is a fairly experienced pilot who knows that airplane.
Now, we're told, Kyle, he's in and out of communication with local authorities, calling 911. So maybe they're trying to bring him down a bit, both emotionally and bring the plane down safely, positively. But what do you read into that this has been going on for so long?
Yeah, they're basically everybody. It's a waiting game, Neil, right now at this point. There's really nothing anybody could do on the ground, and even in the air. I mean, there's no way to take the airplane out of the sky or something of that nature. Because it's a smaller aircraft. But it's basically from here just a waiting game till he runs out of fuel. And hopefully that airplane does not crash into a structure or a building. Hopefully, whatever happens will happen in a wooded area, away from the population.
All right, Kyle, thank you so much for helping us out understand what's going on here. I appreciate it. Kyle Bailey, an aviation analyst joining us from New Jersey. We'll keep you posted on these developments. Hopefully it ends well with no one hurt, everything calms down. So we'll keep an eye on it.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.